To the guys that decided that they don't want to pay all the bills in the household, what came to that life decision? Like, what made you decide, hey, I don't want to be the man that pays all the bills? Let me know in the comments. And the guys that do pay all the bills, why did you decide to pay all the bills in your household? Or why would you pay all the bills in your household?
Same answer. Comes down to gratitude. Right? If you don't appreciate what they're doing, then that should stop. Right? It's a simple X and Y. If you don't appreciate me paying the bills, and it's a natural thing for you to fall out of that appreciation. Stuff like that goes into the background. When you don't worry about the first or the 15th, when you don't know the name of the mortgage lender, because that is something he routinely takes care of, or you don't worry about, which utility needs to be paid. You don't worry about 401ks or the future in terms of financial planning. You don't worry about any of that. Well, when you don't see it frequently, you don't interact with it all the time, you stop appreciating that it happens. Once that happens, yeah, a lot of men just say, well, what's the point in this? Because the next fight will be as if I don't do anything for you. Often it's the unsaid part when you're fighting with a man, when a woman is fighting with a man, is it's not that you don't love me. I feel like you don't love me. Parentheses, right now. I feel like you don't do anything for us right now. So when men know what it takes to pay these things, to pay all the bills, and then they hear what amounts to you not being gracious, you not showing any type of appreciation, it's an easy thing to say, well, what am I doing? What is any of this for? Both sides, it simply comes down to gratitude. Before we continue, like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss new uploads. Still going strong, still trying to do two a day. Still trying to pay that rent, like we're just talking about. It's easy for a man to, if a man is able to pay all of the bills, if he's able to be that 100% provider, and there are men out there that can make it happen, and sometimes that's a $300,000 conversation, $300,000 a year conversation. Sometimes that's a really strict but well managed 80, $90,000, depending where you are, depending on your location, depending on the type of lifestyle you sort of embolden. But like I said before, it's very easy for things to start to become unappreciated, and women can understand what I'm saying here. When you constantly do something for your man, he takes it for granted. It's part of the human condition. We end up taking things that are stable in our lives for granted. You don't care that you breathe through the night. You know it happens, but if you stop and thought about it, you'd be like, I'm grateful my body just does that automatically. You're grateful for a lot of things that simply happen in the background. You're grateful for the closeness that you have of some friends. You're grateful that you can call them and they will be there. It hurts when they're not. It hurts when it's suddenly taken from you. When that fixture is gone suddenly, then its absence, you feel it. But for men, you want them to continue to pay the bills, you have to make it seem as if it's appreciated. And if I have to come to you and say, I feel as if I'm not appreciated here, your response is, no, I appreciate you. The man is telling you, if he's communicative enough to tell you, he's telling you how he experiences you in this relationship, that he does not feel like what he does is important because of the way you sort of move, the way you sort of don't show that this matters, or whenever you're fighting, it's one of the first things that is you're quick to simply dismiss. You can see it in today's society when they say, well, you're supposed to do that. I didn't ask you to do that. You're just supposed to do that. That's when men just say, okay, if this is going to be the guiding line and guiding principle, then I have no business doing it. No one wants to be out here sometimes busting their ass to be unappreciated. If you don't care about what I'm sacrificing to make this happen, there might be someone else that will. There might be someone else that understands and is very cognitively aware of the situation and knowing I could not have this type of lifestyle if not for you. When you let that go, when you forget that, or you purposely ignore it in favor of arguing about something trivial, because well, that's sometimes how we are, gender wise, this is gender, both of us do this, then we end up discounting what people are doing, especially when we don't see that it's a sacrifice for them. We don't see that it costs them something to make this happen, either being time, energy, resources. You don't appreciate it, then I'll be the first one to withdraw it. I'm not going to be belittled in a relationship and be accused of not doing, you don't love me, you don't show that you love me. Meanwhile, I'm providing everything else for you. Or you're upset at a minuscule something, or you get upset because I say no to this. Then it's a blow up because you're so focused on that new thing rather than the whole. If we can keep our eye on the prize and the bigger picture, then we'd probably find more men that willing to step up and be that, 100% provider. But largely that's going to be a choice. And that a lot of that comes from male experience. We've watched women say that this is what they want. They want a man that can provide. And then we also hear the other side of it. Well, even if you're working, you should start stacking your money. Your money is your money. Keep that away. Don't tell them how much you're making. This is why men are starting to say, I'm not going to provide. I'm not going to do that because what are you doing? Even if you have a job, even if you're a stay at home, you're stacking that money for a rainy day, for just in case you got to make moves, you got to push, you got to escape. But then at the very same time, the idea of a prenup, which would give that man the same sort of protections, just in case, we don't want to compare the two. We don't want to acknowledge the two. The men are now, the pendulum has swung the other way, and men are now paying attention and saying, okay, I see it. Why should I do that? Especially when we look at this specifically, when women are saying that this is how men used to be, this is what men used to provide, they should be doing this. Men are saying, well, we're not those men anymore, and you're certainly not those women that those men did it for. Again, this is a good reason why men are saying, I'm not providing, I'm not 100% providing. I don't know what I would get out of it. It doesn't make any sense like it seemed to back then, even though it was easier then, even though it was a more common thing to do to happen. Now, when that man has made himself part of the elite, part of the 10% that can make this happen, where's the appreciation? What is he supposed to get for that? We have videos from creators who were simply championing the idea of whatever she wants, you're supposed to get. And it's your job as a man to provide that. If you have to work a big boy career job and then Uber Eats, DoorDash on the side just to give her a thing, then that's what you're supposed to do as a man. We have a conflated misunderstanding of what masculinity is. And what we need to start doing is abandon the idea of self sacrifice just because someone is a woman. No, there has to be some intrinsic value that shows why you were sacrificing, to shows that this is for the greater good. But someone that cares about you, someone that loves you is going to look and say, yeah, I don't want you killing yourself if it means paying all the bills. I'm glad that you're able, but let me shoulder some of that burden for you because I don't want you gone. I don't want you stressed. I don't want you unhappy. So, in large, men have just been sort of waking up. And like I said in previous years, it's a trailing effect. Whenever there are changes that happen with women in terms of the social dating scene, men trying to tend to have that trailing effect. It'll take some years, but then it'll be a wave of change. What you're left is kind of curious. Well, we want these things, and men are saying no. Here's a response to that. Just like you're saying, well, men aren't approaching. It's in response for the Me Too movement for years of saying, that we don't want to be approached. We don't want you to do this. We want to be left alone. Now that women are now starting to change some of the things again, there'll be a larger trailing effect. Same thing with you got to pay all the bills. And men for a while were championing that. I'm a real man. I pay all the bills. Now they're like, I don't see the point of it. So I think it just comes down to gratitude. If you don't appreciate what that person's doing for you, you'll find you might find yourself from column A getting all the bills paid to column B where it's dog eat dog, pay for yourself or 50-50. Which I think when we are very honest, most people are living 50-50 with their partner. Most people are broke. Most people are barely making it but they're still getting together. You can't get together with someone that makes just as much as you and you're struggling and he somehow takes care of all of it. That's ludicrous. And I think most people have a lot more sense than we give them credit for. But listen, if you think I'm missing something, let me know down in the comments below. If you see videos on your screen right now, take a look at those. Let me know what your thoughts about those videos in those videos. And of course, if you listen to my voice now, you have not subscribed. What are you waiting for? I'll see you in the next one.